Hey, what's up guys? Coach Seth here, Superior Athlete. So today I want to talk to you guys about building strength while losing body fat as an athlete. So I'm going to talk about if you can do this. Is this something that is actually possible? We all know that you can lose body fat and still maintain your strength and your body mass and everything. But can you actually build strength? Can you build that mass while you're shedding that body weight? We're going to talk about all that in this video. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Seth Thomas and I'm a strength and conditioning coach, and I'm all about helping you become a better athlete for basketball. So if you're interested in more videos just like this one, make sure to subscribe and click the little bell to get notified each time I post a video. As always guys, a good way to support me, support the channel. I have a Teespring store that has a lot of t-shirts just like this one right here, so make sure to go check those out and grab you a t-shirt, and it's a good way to help the channel as well. Also, if you want to grab my free conditioning program, that is linked up in the description as well. Alright guys, so the question is, can you actually build strength and get stronger while you're cutting your body fat down, while you're trimming your body weight, and basically just becoming leaner as an athlete? The answer to this question is yes, you absolutely can build strength while you're losing body fat. If you do it the right way, you should not have to worry about losing any of your strength. Now, this isn't going to be the easiest way, but I just wanted to put this video out there to show you guys that it can be done. I've experienced this myself, and a lot of other people that I've heard of as well had good success doing this exact thing, just shedding that body fat while putting on strength and mass. So I'm going to talk to you guys about how you can do this, the best ways to do this, and all the things that you need to do and you can start doing today. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is going to be resistance training. Obviously, in order to put on strength, you need to be doing some form of resistance training. And if you've already been resistance training and you're just wanting to keep that mass or even go further, it's important to not hold back on the intensity. So while you're in the middle of trying to cut down this body fat, you don't want to pull back on your training as well. This intensity needs to be high. Intensity meaning just don't be slacking off in the gym. It's all about the quality of each repetition, not necessarily the volume. You don't have to annihilate your muscle groups every time you go into the gym, but we want that training intensity still high. We want it high, maybe even higher than what we were whenever we wasn't cutting or shedding this body fat down. So you need to be training each of your muscle groups at least twice a week. And a lot of studies and research has been shown that 3 days a week is going to be the best. So what I really have learned a lot over the years, I used to just go in every single workout and just kill my body. So I would have 3 or 4 different exercises for the chest, 3 or 4 for the back, and I've really found that it's much better to lower that to 1 or 2 exercises per muscle group each time you go at it, and then just get more frequency throughout the week. That's going to be much better for your body, and it's also going to be better for recovery, and of course metabolically this is going to be the best way for shedding that body fat down. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is cardio. So cardio is a tricky one. Okay, so you would think you just get on the treadmill and you just go, and I mean you keep going, you run as hard as you can each time. No, slow down there. We don't want that intensity to be as high with cardio. So the thing with cardio is the higher that intensity is, the more muscle you're going to be burning with that. Now listen, I know if we're close to the season and everything, we need that conditioning to be up. So that's going to be a hard one to roll with. But we're just saying for the most benefits of that fat burn is going to be a low intensity cardio. So it's more of a steady state stance of cardio. We don't want that heart rate to be too high, because the higher the heart rate, the more muscle you're going to be burning. So we want that heart rate to be around 60 to 75% of your max heart rate. Efficiently wise, that's going to be burning more fat than muscle. So we're just trying to transition that body composition down to where we want it to be. If you're not real close to your season yet, once you get past this point, then you can start to focus on that conditioning for your season. Okay, the next thing, this is the big one. This is one that we need to be focusing on the most out of all of this. This is going to be the biggest transition in our daily routines, and that's going to be nutrition. So with nutrition, really what it comes down to in basic terms, all we're trying to do is be in a caloric deficit. So we're losing body fat. Most of the time it's going to be body weight with that. You're losing the body weight, right? So we need to be in that caloric deficit. We're not in a deficit, we're probably not going to be going anywhere. So meaning just eat a little bit less of your daily calories. So with our calories, we have surplus calories, we have maintenance calories, and then we have deficit calories. Those are basically the three things we need, just depending on where you are. You know, I was at a time whenever I was just like way too light, I needed to gain weight. I was just like, why ain't I gaining weight? Well, I wasn't eating enough. So I needed to be in a caloric surplus. Right now, I'm a little bit more in the maintenance. But for a lot of you, you're gonna need to be in that caloric deficit, all right? It's very important when you get in that deficit. Before you go and just not eat very much throughout the day, if you're not careful with this and you restrict too many calories, this is where you're gonna get into them just fighting with each other. So you go too low, and yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of that body weight, but you're also gonna lose that muscle as well. So you're losing weight, but you're not necessarily shifting that body composition. So this is where patience kind of come into play here. It's really important to be nice and slow with this. If you're trying to gain muscle, I'm gonna say no more than losing 1 pound of body weight per week. A lot of you might be able to get away with 2 pounds of body weight per week, but I would say just keep it at 1 pound of body weight per week, and that's going to slow things down quite a bit, and that's going to allow you to keep on that strength or even build that strength. So if you're not used to tracking your calories, this is something that might be necessary for you. So I'm always going to recommend MyFitnessPal. It gets a little tedious after a while, but this is not meant for all day, every single day. You know, for a couple of weeks maybe, it's going to be ideal. But a year-round thing, it's probably not going to last. But it's really about just figuring out where your normal calorie range is. That way you know how much to restrict and you know how much you are restricting. Figure out where those daily calories are. They're probably going to be different every day, but if you eat relatively the same amount every day, you know how many to restrict for each of those days. So about 300 to 500 calories a day is where that deficit needs to be. No more than 500 needs to be in your deficit. Like I said, we want to keep that muscle, so this is a slow process. MyFitnessPal is going to help you a lot with this. It's going to ask you, you know, where you're at with your training. Depending on how much you're training throughout the week is where it's going to put your maintenance calories at. Once it finds your maintenance calories, and it might be wrong, it might take a few weeks to get this down and get an accurate number, but this is what we're going to go off of for now. And you got to be monitoring your body very closely. That way we know how accurate it is and what things we need to adjust. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the actual foods for a second here. So the main thing with fat loss is it's gonna be a good idea to cut out the obvious. So cutting out things like fast food, sweets, try to limit these as much as possible. You know, the processed foods, these are gonna be things that's gonna be detrimental to your body composition. So clean this up a little bit. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I know we're not perfect as human beings, but limit this as much as possible. So avoid like big giant cheat days. If you want to have a cheat meal or two throughout the week, that's kind of how I do it, is have 2 or 3, maybe 4 every now and then, 4 cheat meals throughout the week, and then just figure out how to work it in with you. If you're tracking and monitoring very closely with MyFitnessPal, this is going to help a lot. This is going to help you just stay in your caloric deficit, even if you have a cheat meal. So technically it's not a cheat meal, but all of those bad foods that we know, all of us know what they are most of the time, these are just going to promote that fat storage in the body, and that's what we're obviously trying to get rid of. So just limit those foods as much as you can throughout the week. So let's talk about your macros really quick. So for your carbs and fats, you can kind of play around with these a little bit. Once again, MyFitnessPal will help you a little bit with that, and also you can manually adjust them as well. It's going to depend on your body type. It's going to depend on what your body responds better to. Once again, it's going to come down to you just paying very close attention to your body and being mindful of what your body responds better to. Some people respond better to higher fats, not quite as high carbs. Other people's is the exact opposite. So play around with your carbs and fats a little bit and kind of get a good idea where your body likes it and responds the best for your macros. Okay, now we're going to talk about protein. So protein, this is one that needs to be high. No matter what, if you're losing weight, you're gaining weight, this protein needs to be high. And some might even argue that whenever you're trying to lose weight or lose body fat, the protein needs to be even higher because it has to restore some of the things that are being cut out. So usually I like to recommend about 1 gram per pound of body weight. But more accurately, it probably needs to be lean body mass. All right, so if you don't know your body fat percentage, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just go off of your body weight. But if you do know your body fat percentage, you can find your lean body mass. So if you're 200 pounds and you have 15% body fat, your lean body mass is going to be 170 pounds. Okay, so then you would just eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body mass, which would be 170 grams. You could do it that way, and sometimes you might need to go up a little bit more with the protein, so like 1.1 or 1.2 grams per pound. And I know I'm kind of being a little bit more general and pretty broad with this, but the reason I do this is just because every athlete is different. Every body is different. Every body responds differently to certain things. So it's kind of just comes down to monitoring your body, figuring out what works best for your body, trying different things, and just kind of just going from there. It's all a process, and it's all about tweaking things, changing things to make sure things are working out best for your body. The reason I like to go off of body mass is because, you know, you could have someone that's way overweight. You know, let's say they're 250 pounds and they're supposed to be about 200 pounds. That means they're 50 pounds over your goal weight, your body weight. If you're going off body weight, that means they're gonna have 250 grams of protein per day. Now, if you're in a calorie deficit, that's gonna be the majority of your macros, and we need a little bit more carbs and fats to go with that protein. So I think that's just gonna be too much protein. So that's why I like to do your lean mass if you know your body fat percentage. Now, if you feel like you're way overweight from where you need to be, you can go 0.8 grams per pound of body weight if you'd like to do it that way. That's gonna be a little bit better for your body if you're way overweight. But yes, that's kind of how I like to do the protein for each athlete. Okay guys, I know that was a lot to take in, but really it just comes down to being patient. Patient is key. If you try to lose too much weight too fast, you're going to lose muscle with that, and really your body's just going to turn into kind of a skinny fat physique, and we don't want that. We want that lean body type, not necessarily like 5 or 6% body fat, but we don't want too much extra body fat on us because that's going to slow us down. We're not going to be jumping as high. We're not going to be able to move as quick. There's a lot of negatives that come with too much body fat as an athlete. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you're interested in more videos just like this one, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to get notified every time I post a video. And I'll see you guys next time.